last year, and I've had a chance to be able to learn and listen to a lot of the conversations that have been happening behind the scenes. But when I first heard about drip, I have to tell you guys that it's been, for me, my most anticipated license yet, from what I have heard. And just there's something about water. I've always believed that, and as we watch what's happening around the world, water, in my opinion, is going to become and is becoming one of the most valuable commodities in the world. And it's scarce in a number of different areas around the world. And so the fact that when I found out that we had the ability with our scan technology to be able to locate and source underground wells of water, and that we had recently found one of the largest underground aqueducts of water in the last 50 years with our scan technology, I knew that this was going to be a prized license. Let's just put it that way. So I've been really looking forward to this day, and I'm really excited to say that I purchased my first drip license today. And I'm really excited about this particular project. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump in today. I don't want to waste any more time. I want to make sure that we really break this down thoroughly for you so that everybody understands and really can make a well-informed decision whether or not this is the right license for you, and if this is something that you want to pick up or add to your portfolio or your collection. So with that, I am right now at thedebtbox.com. You can see that right up here in my search bar here. And so with that, I have gone down to the bottom page here, and I've clicked on the light papers, and I have now clicked on drip. And so let's just go ahead and do kind of a high level overview first and foremost. So DEBT is revolutionizing the water industry by bringing it into the world of cryptocurrency. Yes, this is the very first cryptocurrency in the entire world that is backed by the water industry. And let me just put this into perspective. The water industry is valued at about $342 billion and is expected to increase at a compound annual growth rate of 5.24%. Is that 5.24 or 524? Man, this is what happens when you start to get a little older, right? Yep, that's 5.24% per year from 2024 just to 2027. And this growth can be attributed to factors such as higher demand for hygienic drinking water and increased health consciousness in consumers. And as part of the DRIP project, a portion of the royalties, just like in all of our projects, a portion of the royalties earned will be put towards working closely with partners to drill wells in areas across the world that would benefit from access to clean drinking water. So one of the things that I love the most, having gone to Ghana and visited different cities like Takoradi and some of these different areas, is I'm telling you that when I say that they live in poverty and they live in areas where they have to hike a couple of miles down to the lake down there to be able to get their water and then carry it back. I mean, that's really how these people are living. And so knowing what a strong presence that we have in Ghana and other parts of the world now, Africa, as we continue to expand, knowing that we're going to be able to have such a tremendous impact. And let me tell you kind of the backstory here. So when before DEBT was ever created, before we had launched our first cryptocurrency project, and we were involved in the mining industry and we were mining in Ghana, what was happening is a lot of other countries, China, for example, would come in and they would strip mine the land. I mean, they would literally desecrate the land as they were going for whatever mineral it is that they were mining, whether it was copper or gold. And in some cases, they would even uproot, villages and desecrate hundreds of year-old cocoa farms that existed that have been passed down from one generation to the next. It's quite sad. And so as we started out, one of the things that we started doing is focusing on being environmentally conscious and giving back to the communities. And so what they would do is when they would go in and they would mine, when they were finished, they would then plant hundreds, thousands of trees when they were finished. Anytime that they would find water through the process of locating whatever element, whatever mineral that they were looking for, they would actually donate that water back to the villages. And as a result of that,
Buy a Yoko Kumo and see your sales go up. Transact in 3 seconds with unlimited 4G data. Own it for $9.99. No contracts. Stop it. No monthly fees. Visit yoko.com.
Irresistibly smooth chocolate, made to melt you. Lindor, by the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
As a result of that, they started to gain favor among the chiefs and then the royalty families. And through that time, they started to establish trust, right? And that trust led them to the point where they started building relationships all the way up to now the president of Ghana. While I was there in Ghana, I was actually invited along with the owners and a couple of other top leaders to be able to go and meet with the president. Unfortunately, his schedule shifted and that meeting never happened, but we had the chance to, or the opportunity, if you will, to be able to go and meet with him. And instead we met with the foreign minister of oil and gas. But that came as a result of doing it right. And many of you know that our projects in Ghana alone in 2023 will now employ over 10,000 people. Our projects like Grow, for example, not only give people jobs, but they feed these villagers. Like the food that they are creating, when in the gold concessions that we have, they allow the locals to come and actually mine gold, and that gold that they find helps feed those villages for months on end. And so all of our projects are giving back, and essentially that's really where the foundation of this project first started. So for me, it has all the feel goods. I love the humanitarian side to it. I've just had, I don't know how to explain it other than to say that I've just had a gut feeling about this project since the first moment that I heard about it, which is why I was so excited when they just released this particular project. So with that, we're going to go ahead and we are going to break it down a little bit more. We're going to get into the light papers here. So just again, just for if you're just joining me, if you want to know where I'm at here, you can go to thedebtbox.com. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can read about all of our different projects that we currently have here. You'll see DRIP is the latest down at the bottom. I'm just clicking on the light papers here. And as we pull these up here, this is where you can get all of the information that you're looking for, right? So first and foremost, if you're new and you're just learning a little bit more about who we are, DEBT is a revolutionary, decentralized, eco-friendly blockchain technology network of autonomous software node operators who together create a blockchain ecosystem. What is a node? A node just enforces the protocol on the blockchain. In layman's terms, it just helps to process transactions. And as a result, you receive rewards. Imagine if you owned an ATM and people came in all day long and they just put their debit card in, they withdrew money, and there's a transaction fee that was paid. You essentially are sharing in those transaction fees as being a part of the network or being a licensee or a node holder within this particular community. So DEBT digital tokens are supported by real world commodities and services through royalties from projects which are used to purchase tokens out of the ecosystem. So let's break that down for a moment. So all of our projects, one of the things that makes us unique is the fact that every single cryptocurrency that we launch, every token that we launch is backed by real world assets that are in high demand. Things like gold, things like oil, natural gas, high yielding agriculture, real estate, the beverage industry, now water, right? Everything is backed by something tangible. If you look at the industry as a whole from cryptocurrency, you'll know that most of it is driven by manipulation, hype, and our goal and our utility, if you will, our purpose is to raise the bar in the industry and provide real world value, places of stored value with these assets. Very similar to the dollar when it was backed by gold, right? When it was removed from the gold standard, unfortunately, that's when we started to see the value going down and down and down. So essentially, all of these particular projects produce revenue, and that revenue comes into a trust. Each particular token has a trust. Revenue comes into the trust, and a portion of that revenue goes to buying up tokens that are in circulation and sending them to a burn wallet. What does that mean? It means that you are just removing tokens from the ecosystem. Simple supply and demand economics would suggest that when you have a growing demand and a diminishing supply over time, and again, this is not get rich quick. This is not a, hey, you know what? 30 days from now, how come my project didn't go up 3,000%? Or even 3 to 6 months from now, this is a wealth creation tool, and I go into every single project with a 3 to 5 year mindset. I like that better than the 40-year mindset, right? Of trying to save as much money as I can, battle inflation, and get to the point 40 years down the road where hopefully have enough money in the bank. I will tell you that for me, I am a large collector of licenses. I now have over 100 licenses for my wife and I. This is a major part of our wealth creation plan. And again, everything that I do and every decision that I make is based around a 3 to 5 year outlook. So projects include agriculture, bauxite, which is aluminum, crude oil, gold, real estate, distribution channels, natural gas, just to name a few. The D.E.B.T ecosystem benefits from the token burns that occur from the purchases of tokens from project royalties that are received. So again, how is this backed? How is it supported by these different assets? If we've got over 100 new oil partners coming online in 2023 alone. That generates that we get a 5% royalty off of all of those partners. The royalties come into a trust. The trust has one focus: to buy up tokens as cheap as they possibly can out of the ecosystem, send them to a burn wallet over time. We have annual halvings, and some of our newer projects have quarterly halvings where they're also removing tokens. Similar to Bitcoin, as you see Bitcoin goes through a halving every 4 years, what happens? It hits a new all-time high. Our overall purpose, our goal, our utility is to not only provide stored value, true value behind these tokens, but to help reduce the volatility as well. And so the royalties are a big part of that. Our strategy, our projects continue to launch. The ecosystem is becoming more robust. The key focus now is growth and focusing on the user experience. Currently, there are multiple projects in the pipeline. New projects are being reviewed regularly, and the diverse collection of real-world commodity projects. Been talking all day. Projects contribute to the roadmap for creating benefits that can be used by D.E.B.T mining license holders, D.E.B.T ecosystem token holders, and third-party token holders as well. Now, at a glance, let's talk a little bit about the water blockchain project called D.E.B.T. So the water blockchain project is supported by the physical production of water products. D.E.B.T is revolutionizing the water industry, and this includes retail packaged water, including purified, spring, sparkling, distilled, and flavored. Many of you know that a lot of our projects complement each other. So we recently launched a license called D.E.B.T, right? D.E.B.T is supported by a $1.7 trillion, $3.7 trillion beverage industry. I always say that it's recession proof. Why? Because you go to Starbucks in the morning and tell me even in a down economy how long the line is, right? So we actually, for part of our infrastructure, we have actually purchased some different manufacturing facilities. We just had a big BEV day where anybody that wanted to come out and see the manufacturing facilities behind the projects had an opportunity to be able to do so. And that's one of the cool things about D.E.B.T, by the way. I don't know of any other project, any other company, any other cryptocurrency project out there in the world that invites their leaders and opens the doors for people to come and inspect and see and look at the actual assets behind the scenes. I've been to oil rigs in Nebraska, throughout. Next week I'll be in going through Texas and going through and seeing more oil rigs and pipelines. I've been to Ghana to inspect and to be able to validate these different assets that are behind these projects. So with this particular, in this instance, we have manufacturing facilities that can produce these type of things already, which is kind of cool. The water industry is currently valued at about $342 billion and is expected to increase at a compound annual rate of 5.24% per year over the next 3 years, which is significant, right? I think we can all agree that water is not going away anytime soon. So as part of the D.E.B.T project, the D.E.B.T Council will work closely with our partners to ensure a portion of all water sales will be used to drill wells in areas across the world that will benefit from access to clean drinking water. So here again in the light papers, you can kind of see just the overall growth when it comes to bottled water out of home, bottled water at home, and you can see the growth across the board over the last 10 years. Now, becoming part of the D.E.B.T community with the purchase of a D.E.B.T mining license and taking advantage of the water distribution and crypto industries through the growing debt ecosystem. What does that do? When you purchase your mining license today or in the near future to earn daily rewards supported by these half-life tokenomics. We'll break that down a little bit more in just a moment. So there are 130,000 retail mining licenses that are currently available. So what does that mean? It means there's a limited supply. Now, as we continue to bring on more and more partners that increase the overall revenue, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, we will never add more licenses. So if you are fortunate enough to be one of the exclusive licensee holders of D.E.B.T, just know that when they sell out, they sell out. That's it. And the beautiful thing is when they do sell out, the average is typically about 12 months. We have had some projects that sell out in 3 months, but let's just say 12 months, the license then converts to an NFT, which is a non-fungible token, which is essentially digital real estate. And you do have the ability to be able to go and sell those licenses should you choose to do so. We literally have people that bought into one of our first projects just over a year ago. We just successfully converted that license over to an NFT. And some of those people have been able to sell those licenses for 3, 4, 5 times the amount of what they paid for those licenses when they first came out. And I believe personally, just my belief, my opinion, that that's just the very beginning and that those licenses will continue to go up in value over time. So 130,000 retail mining licenses available. Retail licenses will be available at the cost breakdown below. Note that the licenses priced between 4,000 or less can only be purchased with USDT, USDC, BNB, which is Binance, or DET token. So we're only taking in cryptocurrency once we get to those levels. Now, let's break it down a little bit because this has created a little bit of confusion. You're seeing kind of an upside down chart here. The first 1,000 start out at 7,500, second 1,000 go down to 7,000, third, so on and so on and so on, and it goes down. In the past, we've seen it reversed. We've seen the licenses start off at a lower price point and go up. So why are they doing it this way? For a couple of reasons. Number one, they want to reward the long-term holders, and they want to get away from or prevent people from buying licenses, and literally the day that it comes out on the market, they dump all of their token, right? Our tokenomics are built for long-term holding. And so this is going to slow that down naturally because it limits, who can actually hold a license right up front. But second of all, there's something that they're doing here that's very, very unique. As we go down a little bit further, you're going to see in the scale, and I'll come back up in just a moment, but you're going to see the payout of these tokens. So you're going to see that in year one, 50% of the total tokens are going to be paid out. And it's not just within the first year, folks. It's actually within the first 60 days. So between now and the end of June, you will see 50% of the overall tokens that are distributed to the node holders will be paid in the next 60 days. So what does that mean? If you are mining, it's always beneficial to be one of the first to hold a license. Why? Because if there's less node holders connected to the network, that means that more rewards are being paid out, right, to each one of those node holders, because it's always divided proportionately and evenly among the amount of node holders that are online. So if there's only 1,000 node holders that are online, then guess what? Those 1,000 node holders are sharing 50% of the tokens that are going to be distributed in the first year, and 50% of the tokens distributed ever in the lifetime of this particular project. So you get the idea. So if you are one of the first or one of the elite that has the ability to be able to purchase a license for $7,500, and I can tell you that there are going to be less node holders at 7,500 than there are at 1,500. Just, simple mathematics, right? And who can afford a license at that price point? You will benefit by sharing in the rewards that are paid out and distributed within the first 60 days. So once again, just to recap that, within the first 60 days, the entire year of tokens, which is 50% of the tokens that'll ever be paid out in this project, will be paid out between now and the end of June. So how can that benefit you? So let's say that I'm a token holder, a licensee owner, which I am. I purchased my D.E.B.T license today. And I am fortunate enough to be able to receive a large amount of tokens. And I don't know what that, let's just say that it's 5 million tokens over the course of the next 60 days. because I chose to go first and be among the elite that chose to get involved in the early stages. Now, let's say that a year, 2 years, or 3 years, and I'm going to say even 3 to 5 years because that's the mindset that I want to put people into. Could be sooner than that, but 3 to 5 years down the road, the value goes to $1, and I'm sitting on 5 million tokens because I was there early on, and I had a chance to collect a large amount of tokens. That is the benefit of going early. I'll compare it to Bitcoin. The people that mine Bitcoin in the early stages were getting tens of thousands of Bitcoin a day. They were only worth 0.00003. But imagine getting tens of thousands of Bitcoin a day and holding on to those for even 5 years when Bitcoin was already at $3,000 or $4,000 per token. You can do the math. So I always tell people, and I want you to hear me because this is very, very important. When we are in a down market, which we are in a down market, every single cryptocurrency from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Litecoin to every other coin that is out there is down substantially from their all-time highs. We are in a bear market. In a bear market, it is about collecting. It is about accumulation. It is not about price, right? People are buying Bitcoin at 25, 27, all the way down to 16. Why? It's because they know the value is significantly higher. But here's the thing, in a down market, price and value are never the same. You have to give it time for the bear market to kind of to come back out of the bear market and go back into another bull run. And when that happens, price catches up to value. And if you're holding the majority of the tokens, guess what? You're going to win, right? If I'm holding 10 Bitcoin and the Bitcoin's worth 16,000, it's worth 160,000. Today, I think it's worth probably about 30. So it's about 300,000. But if I'm holding 10 of those and it goes to 100,000 in the next new all-time high, well, guess what? I'm sitting on 1 million tokens, right? $1 million worth of Bitcoin. So the idea in a down market is to collect as many tokens as you possibly can. And a lot of people get caught up in the idea that, oh my gosh, it's been 3 months or 6 months and the values are down a little bit. Guys, it doesn't matter about price, especially in the first year when you haven't even gone through your first halving yet. It's about how many tokens can you accumulate. So this is giving those of you that understand the power of accumulation the ability to be able to get in on one of our most valued or highly anticipated licenses and be among one of those first to be able to get 50% of the tokens that are paid out within the first 60 days. So hopefully I did that merit and you guys understand. Now, why does it go down? Because as more and more node holders come online, the distributions will be lower. Why? Because it's dividing those tokens up evenly among all of the node holders. So the second 1,000 are not going to get paid on a daily basis as many tokens as the first 1,000. The third 1,000 are not going to get paid as many tokens as the first 1,000 or the second 1,000. And after 60 days, of course, it's going to be far less. After we go through that first halving event, it's going to be far less as well, right? So over time, now on the flip side of the coin, the value of those tokens could go up in value and be worth more and more and more. So that ultimately gives you an idea of how it works and why they've priced it this way. So now, for those of you that can't afford $7,500, that's okay, because we do have some other options and some other entry points for you. So first of all, you could either wait, right? You could either wait it out until the prices come down a little bit, or we are now offering 2 million micro licenses that cater to the masses. A micro license is an affordable way to get involved with the debt ecosystem and provides 1% of the rewards generated by a retail perpetual mining license. And micro licenses can only be purchased with USDT. So a micro license does not require the license holder to host the, and by the way, over on the IX Global side, one of the beautiful things about the micro licenses is you can actually use a debit and or a credit card to be able to purchase the micro licenses. So let's talk about the benefits of these micro licenses. Let me give you a little bit of the strategy here, because I'm getting fired up and sweating a little bit. So let me just give you kind of an illustration. So let's say that you wanted to create, to start wealth creation. You wanted to start collecting some different assets, right? You're looking for places of stored value right now. So let's say that you wanted to start buying gold, or you wanted to start buying silver.
Get the new KFC Subwell meal for only $199.90.
This finger looking good.
So that went well.
It did.
Let me get this.
No.
May not be a bad idea, right? In the economy that we're in. So, do most people start out by buying a brick of silver? This is 100 ounces of silver. Can most people go and just buy 100 ounces of silver? Now, if you can, great, congratulations, that's awesome, but not everybody can do that, right? Especially in emerging markets. So, how do most people get started? And how can you do it? Well, what if you set up where you were just buying 2 or 4 silver coins every single month, right? So now this is a little bit more affordable, right? So now you're looking at maybe spending $60 or maybe $120 a month to be able to start collecting silver. Now, here's the thing. Over enough time, as you accumulate, right, you're accumulating these tokens and you start getting large amounts of these tokens. Eventually, you now have one of these, right? Now it starts to get to the point where you have enough silver that now you've got a little bit more, right? It's starting to increase in value. And eventually you get to this point, right? It's the exact same concept with our micro nodes, right? So we sell these micro nodes. You can buy 5 or 10, which gives you 5% or 10% of a license every single time that you buy these bundles. So if I set up an auto ship and I'm buying 5 of these micro nodes, which is $250 every single month, I'm essentially buying 5% of a drip license. And over time, I'm just accumulating more and more and more of a license. The beautiful thing about that is that I am receiving the tokens that are coming to me and I'm accumulating those tokens that have potential to be able to go up in value. So what we have done is we have now created a platform, an opportunity for the average person who may not be able to spend $7,500. They may not be able to spend $1,500, but they are now in a position where they can go out and they can get started at a much lower level. And so if you want to get into drip, but you're not in a position to be able to go spend $7,500, but you want to participate in these payouts that are going out, you know, the 50% of the payouts that are going to be happening in the first 60 days, you can do that even at a micro level with our micro nodes. So that's the entire concept, right? If you wanted to go buy a kilo of gold, right, a big bar of gold, you're going to spend $70,000+ to go buy that kilo of gold. Most people can't do that. But on the other hand, you know what they can do? Most people can afford to buy maybe a gram of gold on a monthly basis, right? And then if you collect enough of these, eventually you get to the point where you've got that gold bar, right? So that's the whole concept, the whole idea. You know, debt, everything that we do is focused around doing, number 1, eliminating debt. Number 2, wealth creation. We're teaching people how to accumulate sources of stored value. We're teaching people how to diversify, especially in this economy that we are currently in right now. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of how the micronodes work. Again, 2 million micro licenses. A micro license is an affordable way to get involved with debt, and it provides 1% of the rewards generated by a retail perpetual mining license. Micro licenses can only be purchased again with USDT. This is through debt. The beautiful thing is if you are with IX Global, who is the wholesaler, you can use debit and or credit card for these as well. Now, one caveat, and this is very important, a micro license does not convert to an NFT at a later date. So I want to say that again. It is not transferable and it will not convert to an NFT at a later date. But think about this for a moment, you guys. Think about it. So imagine, you know, being on a subscription, and you don't have to be on a subscription. You can just buy it one time. You could buy 5 micronodes or 10 micronodes, but I would highly suggest if you want to start accumulating and building wealth that you set up a subscription. And here's why. Because imagine buying a product every month that's going to pay you for the rest of your life. Think about that. Think about that for a moment, especially if you're in the direct sales industry, right? And you're thinking about this from the business perspective. What other product that's out there that allows you to be able to accumulate tokens and coins every single day, anybody, without having to build a team that's going to pay you for the rest of your life? Every single month, you are acquiring a micro node that is literally going to pay you tokens for the rest of your life. And that is something that is extremely powerful. And that's why I believe there's so much value in these different licenses that we bring to the table here. A debt perpetual mining license, perpetual simply means that it's going to continue to mine for the lifetime of the project. I think we could all agree that water is not going to be going away anytime soon. We have projects, for example, aluminum. We have enough aluminum to mine for the next 200 years. So I think we would agree that this is going to be a license that's going to be ongoing for quite some time. So they do have to be hosted. So all debt perpetual, which means if you're buying a full license, you're not the micro nodes, you don't have to worry about hosting. If you buy a perpetual license, especially from IX Global, it does include 1 year of hosting already. So that's a benefit to you. And then from a collecting reward standpoint, when your drip mining license is active, so when you purchase the license, the next step is it takes about 48 hours to get to activate and connect online to the network. And then from there, you'll start seeing those tokens coming in real time, right? Real time, you'll be able to track it. You'll be able to watch it right on your app. I got to tell you, I think it's the coolest app in the world because every time that I open it up, I literally watch these tokens just coming in real time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you'll literally be able to track those tokens coming in. Each mining cycle is a 24-hour period. And it typically comes online at 6 p.m. So if I bought one today and I saw it show up in my back office today, tomorrow at 6 p.m., when the next cycle starts, that's when my node will start mining.
For many years, I've struggled with gums that are very tight and swollen and just generally make me feel uncomfortable. After using Meridol as directed, I immediately felt less pressure and discomfort in my gum.
Meridol, healthy gums, healthy teeth.
Mason Kane, top spy, hot stuff.
So tokenomics. Tokenomics are a very simple word for economics. The economics for the particular token. And the tokenomics have been designed based on the economic theory of supply and demand. People that get involved in our projects often don't understand the tokenomics, right? They're just hoping that they wake up one morning and the coin has gone up 100,000%, like we've seen in some coins of the past that really had no value, that a lot of them were in rug pools. That is not how our project was designed. Does it mean that it can't happen? Sure, it could happen. Anything can happen within the cryptocurrency space. But here's how the tokenomics work. It's all based around a simple supply and demand concept. Tokens are mined through the Ecosystem Growth Initiative. We call it the EGI pool on a half-life schedule. Each annual cycle, half of the tokens in the EGI pool are mined to mining license holders based on a mining algorithm that functions like other cloud mining algorithms. And without requiring excessive energy, hardware costs, you don't have to buy any equipment. It's just software. It's just software. And essentially, the way that it works is 50% of the daily distribution will be awarded to standard mining license holders, and another 50% will be mined to the treasury. And with a finite number of licenses and tokens set to come into existence, the DRIP project tokenomics are supported by 3 areas: water royalties, DRIP mining license purchases. There's 130,000 of them, 2 million micro licenses. Now, by the way, with the money that's coming in from these licenses, does that money go to pay out your tokens? No, it doesn't. Zero money, zero revenue coming in from license sales is used to pay out our licensee holders. Where does it go? It goes to infrastructure, right? Those of you that were at Bev Day the other day saw an example of that, right? Whether it's a manufacturing facility that we've purchased, whether it's a gold concession that we've purchased, or whether it's, we just received the first onshore, offshore license in Ghana's history to be able to mine oil. So maybe it goes to purchase that. Maybe it goes to distribution centers to support grow when it comes to the high yielding agriculture. That's where that revenue goes, right? So a 10% transaction fee is also included with every single withdrawal, and half of which is distributed standard license holders and half of which is vaulted. So what does that mean? What does that do? It creates a deflationary mechanism. So think about this for a moment. We are living in a time of inflation, right? We're seeing, because of the amount of dollars that have been circulated and printed, the value of the dollar has gone down substantially. The cost of goods has gone up, and people are feeling it, right? People are feeling the pinch. So deflationary is just the opposite, right? We're removing money or tokens from circulation. it'd actually probably be a good idea if the government or the Federal Reserve actually maybe took a lesson out of our playbook. Maybe if they started reducing some of the money in circulation, we'd actually it would create a stored value effect. But they don't. They just keep printing and printing and printing and printing money out of thin air. So we have a 10% transaction fee in addition to the burns that we do on a monthly basis and the halvings that we do on an annual basis. And that 10% transaction fee, a lot of people are like, I don't like that. I don't want to pay that until they understand what it really does. Number one, it helps to prevent whales from coming into the ecosystem. What's a whale? A whale is somebody that comes in and buys up 80% of the tokens that are in existence. When it hits an all-time high, they sell and it crashes the token. Now, does that mean that there aren't people here that own more licenses than others? No, there are people here that own hundreds of licenses. Some of them own thousands of licenses. But the overall objective is to keep the whales out who don't want to pay that 10%. So it helps kind of keep them at bay and keeps from having one person or two people controlling the large majority of the tokens. In addition to that, it also helps to prevent snipers, which are day traders, from trading on the tokens. Why? Because they cannot operate with a 10% transaction fee. And of course, when you understand what this is actually doing to the overall value from a deflationary standpoint, then people don't mind it so much. So there is a 10% transaction fee. The DRIP project smart contract does not have mint functions, but still supports the economic theory of supply and demand through vaulting and burning tokens. So we've talked a lot about that. There are 1.5 billion DRIP tokens will be available to be digitally mined and thus placed into circulation. So very similar to Bitcoin. Why do people think that Bitcoin one day could be worth 500,000 or even more? It's because there's a set amount of tokens that will ever go into circulation, and every 4 years they burn half of them. So in the same exact way, we're doing that on an annual basis. We're also doing it on a monthly basis through our burns. So when people say to me, gosh, the price is down and I've been mining for 6 months, I tell them, guys, this is a brand new project. You need to give the tokenomics time. We haven't even been through our first halving yet. Go look at Bitcoin in the first 6 months and the first year. But as the tokenomics kicked in and as they went through that first halving, go look at what happened to the price. Then go look at what happened to the price the second halving. Then go look at the price the third halving, right? Every time Bitcoin goes through a halving, historically speaking, it goes to a new all-time high. The last new all-time high was 2 years ago. It hit $69,000 per one coin. Per one coin. When's the next halving? It's predicted to be in early next year. So in 2024, we will see Bitcoin go through a halving. Well, guess what? Usually, or historically speaking, happens after that. Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, and we go into another bull run. And that is why I'm in an accumulation phase right now. So once again, 1.5 billion tokens will be available to be digitally mined. 50% of those will be paid out in the next 60 days, which hence is why the value of the licenses is set where it is right now and is going down over time. It's not an initial coin offering. This is very, very important that you understand the difference. Licenses are not making an investment into the DRIP project. So there's no one that's been gifted any tokens. Owners have not been gifted large amounts of tokens just because they're owners. I, as a quote unquote debt ambassador, have not been given any tokens. The only way a token can go into the ecosystem is if you own a node. That is the only way a token can ever go into circulation is from an actual node itself. And that's really important. Why? Because ICOs, they can go give away 10 million tokens to this celebrity and to this celebrity, to this celebrity. They can go out and pump it up, and all of a sudden it becomes popular and the values start to go up. And you're thinking, oh, I need to buy this token. And so all of a sudden FOMO kicks in. Everybody starts buying and it drives the value up even higher. And then what happens to those guys that are holding the majority of the tokens? They go sell and boom, it crashes, right? So it's not an initial coin offering. The DRIP projects, again, it's a revolutionary way to be part of the recession-proof global water industry through token rewards. Our strategic partnerships and unique negotiating abilities offer DEBT the ability to earn royalties from the manufacturing of several water products. These royalties shall be used to purchase DRIP tokens out of the DRIP ecosystem. You have 130,000 licenses available. I think that we've sold somewhere over 2,000 or close to 2,000 licenses already in the first 24 hours. I haven't got an update on that, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. So that gives you an idea of how popular this project is. I don't even have a number of micronodes, but I know that people are really, really excited about the micronodes because it's giving the average person, the masses, the ability to be able to now get involved in our projects, which I absolutely love. 10% transaction fees. We've talked about the rewards, how they're paid out, 24-hour cycles. And the Debt Council is responsible for managing the ecosystem and working with strategic partners to add value for all licenses and all token holders. Once again, this is a Binance Smart Chain project. All of our projects are on the Binance network, so largest blockchain in the world. And you can see the distribution here in year 1, year 2, year 3. Once again, year 1 is going to be paid out in the next 60 days. And here are the wallets that you can go look up online. One of the things that I love about Debt is, in my experience since I've been here, they've done everything that they said that they would do. Every single project they've launched has hit pancake swap within the time frame that they said that they would do it. Every single project that they've talked about has come to fruition. Every single asset behind it has come to fruition. So I like the transparency. You know, I love the fact that you can go look up your nodes online and see them mining, and you can see exactly what they're paying out. There's no manipulation because everything's transparent, right? At the end of the day, what controls the value or the price? You do. You control the value. How? By when you sell. People called me the other day. We had a dip in our ecosystem, and people flipped out, right? Like they flipped out. Why was there a dip? Because one of the large node holders of Debt, which is our main utility token, every single project is paired to Debt, unfortunately left his wallet vulnerable, and it was hacked. And somebody sold off millions of dollars of tokens in a very short period of time. Well, Debt is paired to all of our projects, so we instantly, anytime there's a large amount of selling that happens, it creates what? Downward pressure. Well, downward pressure does what? It creates fear, and a lot of people start panic selling. They're like, I gotta get as much money out as I can before this thing crashes, right? So the values went down, and for a period of time, everything was like down in the red across the board. My phone started going off like crazy. It was Friday night. And so I understand the tokenomics, and I understand how the trust works. So the trust has one sole responsibility. When we start seeing a lot of people selling, they have to add liquidity back, right? So what do? They have to start buying up more and more and more tokens. So I knew that the trust would step in. So as the trust stepped in and started buying more and more tokens, what ended up happening was we started to see the prices rebound. Now, this was the coolest part about what happened. We started to see initially a large number of people selling, but then we started to see the ecosystem and the support and the belief behind the project step in. For example, when I saw Debt get down to $6, I said, there's no way in the world. Hi, can I help you?
Can I take this?
Okay, go talk to mommy. I'm sorry. Sorry. I had a little boy that's sitting right here on his knees trying to get my attention. So when I knew that it was down, I knew that the trust would step in, right? Because I trust the trust. I trust the trust. I know how it works. And I also knew that people would take advantage of the dip, right? They always say, buy the dip, buy when there's blood in the streets. And it never ceases to amaze me. When Bitcoin's at 69,000, people line up to buy it, but when it's at like 16, nobody wants to buy it, right? You don't get wealthy when prices are high. You build wealth when prices are low, right? That's why we talk about and teach accumulation. So when I saw that, I literally could not pull over fast enough to be able to get money. And this is one of the reasons, let this be a lesson. This is why it's smart or wise to be able to keep some money in your exchange in the form of USDT, which is like a stable coin that doesn't fluctuate, so that you have the ability to take advantage of these type of moments. I wish I actually had mine. I wasn't as liquid as I normally am in my wallets at the time. And so I jumped in and I bought a bunch of Debt. We had people literally that bought NatG and turned, $4,000 of NatG into $93,000 worth of NatG in a 24-hour period, right? So the coolest thing about that, what happened was the amount of support that came, and you could see if you go look, you can see that there's about 1,000 people that sold, and I feel bad for some of those people that sold, especially at such low prices, because about 5,000 people came right behind them and bought their losses. So when I say that you determine the price based on when you sell, right? Like for me, I am collecting Bitcoin. I would never sell my Bitcoin right now. Why? Because I know what the value is. I know what the price is. I know what the value is. Now, I bought some Bitcoin as low as 16,000. It's at 30 today. I could double my money and be out of here. But I also know that we're still in a bear market. Bitcoin could come back down to 25 or to 20 or to 15. And I'm not going to panic. Why? Because I know the value of Bitcoin. And I know in my mind the number of when I would sell. And I won't sell until it gets there. Now, it may take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. That's okay, because I have a 3 to 5 year outlook. I'm not looking at this in a short-term perspective saying, I'm hoping to get rich overnight. I need this money tomorrow. This is my wealth creation plan. This is my put the money away, don't touch it. This is Summer and I, and how Summer and I are going to retire over the next 3 to 5 years with these tokens, with these licenses. So for me, all I'm looking for anytime I see dips is opportunity. And that is how it works. So you have to understand, that's right, markets will dip. That's what they do, Joe, you're right. Market, that's what they do. They go up, they go down. People buy, people sell, right? People feel the pinch, they sell more. The markets go down a little bit. You know, when that happens, I'm not going to give you advice because I'm not a financial advisor, by the way. I make sure to tell you that right now. But I'm buying the dip because I believe in the value. And I'm going to close with this, okay? I am here and I have purchased over 100 licenses because of the value of debt. What is the value of debt? Debt is the first company in the entire world that has brought commodity-backed or asset-backed crypto to the table. Prior to this, you've got all kinds of coins that are nothing but hype speculation. They have been manipulated by online groups, celebrities. There's no value. You have rug pulls. You have, ICOs that are carefully or carefully disguised as nothing more than just to raise a bunch of money so people can take off and run, right? The rug pulls that are out there, the ICOs where they give tokens to celebrities. 4% of the world has a cryptocurrency wallet right now. You know the number is projected to grow to 10% over the next couple of years? What do you think is going to be the catalyst that moves that number from 4 to 10%? It's moving from hype and speculation to tangibility and substance. Asset-backed crypto is projected to be a $50 trillion industry, and guess what? We're first. I always laugh when I hear people compare their coin to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was first, right? They paved the way. They were the ones that introduced digital currency to the world. There'll never be another Bitcoin. But I'll tell you what, we're the first in the world to introduce asset-backed crypto. We're the first in the world that's providing true stored value. Now, does that mean it won't fluctuate? No. That's markets fluctuate. Our goal with our tokenomics is to help reduce that fluctuation. But I can promise you this, somebody like my dad, who doesn't really understand crypto, kind of stays away from it because he's seen the fluctuation, will eventually start to go, maybe there is something to this Bitcoin thing, or maybe there is something to this cryptocurrency thing, but he's going to feel a lot more comfortable getting involved with a project that's backed by gold or oil or high yielding agriculture than something that's backed by nothing. To me, that is the value of what we bring to this industry. We are raising the bar in this space. Do our prices reflect the value right now? No. Our prices are here. We are in a bear market. This is the time to accumulate. Once the value kicks in, once we come out of a bear market, it is my belief that the people that hold on to their tokens and the people that focused and made decisions that were centered around how many tokens can I accumulate, like buying in a dip or taking advantage of a license that's going to pay out 50% of the tokens in the first 60 days, it's my opinion, those are going to be the people that benefit the most in the exact same way that Bitcoin, when those people that were mining in the early stages when it was worth 0.0004. So DRIP to me is a license that I have been excited about since I heard about it literally the first time that I met with Jason. It just came out, and we have the ability for everyone, whether you want to get involved and buy a perpetual license today, or whether you want to get involved in micronodes, you have an opportunity to be able to get your hands on one of these licenses. And so with that, I want to say thank you very much for tuning in. I am going to upload this on my YouTube channel, so this will be available and up probably a little later on this evening. And in the meantime, feel free to tag anybody that you'd like to be able to tune into this here in the Debt Info group. If you're new to the group, by the way, right up here at the top, if you click on featured and you scroll down a little bit to a welcome post and you open that up, there's 6 or 7 great resources that are there, overviews that you can learn more. One of my favorite things to watch is the interview with Jason. That I interviewed Jason when I first started, when I was literally just considering putting my money in to buy licenses. And that has been a staple for people that want to learn more about this ecosystem. And if you haven't watched that yet, and you want to build a little more belief in the projects, go watch that. And that'll help you to understand a little bit more about the true value of D.E.B.T and what we're bringing to the table. So with that, you guys have a wonderful evening, wonderful weekend. Thank you so much. God bless. We'll see you guys again soon. Take care.